I mentioned that I was reading this series of comics called Moonshadow. And, here's one, and here's the last one. And you get to the end and you're like, I don't get it. Anyone ever read the series Moonshadow? Please explain how it ends, because I really am not quite sure. I've been on, somewhat of an emotional drunk lately. Like last night I was on a junk food binge, eating tons of candy and sugar. I was going to explain to a lot of you how I lost weight when I lost weight. And it's not going to stay off very long if I keep doing what I did last night. And if you go to Tracy, youtube.com/Go Tracy. Tracy Anderson's method is what I used to lose weight, and it really worked for me. I remember exercising 6 days a week, and I did it even after the 90 days. It's a 90-day program. I did it after the 90 days was up until January 4th, which is when the Jackson Conrad Murray preliminary started, and then I was there. I just kind of fell out of the habit of exercising, and I'm trying to get back in it, but it's slow moving. But what the exercise consisted of is you started out at 45 minutes to an hour. No, I'm sorry. You started out at 45 minutes of dance aerobics, and you did, I think, 7 minutes of abs, and then whatever rest of that time was what we called floor exercises, and I was what they called hip-centric. So all the exercises that, I was on my hands and knees and doing leg lifts, but they weren't just normal leg lifts. It all involved angles, the angles of where you kick your leg and bring it into your body. And so it's youtube.com/Go Tracy. And it was diet as well. We had, the first week was almost like a fast. I mean, it was like we dropped down to pureed foods. It was like anything we ate was baby food type food. I remember having kale juice, and I think it was like strained kiwi or pureed kiwi basil. There was always gazpacho, always, which in the beginning I didn't like, and by the end it became a staple. We could eat as much gazpacho as we want, pretty much. So I've been looking for places that sell it. There was this chocolate pudding, which really wasn't chocolate pudding with, like cocoa powder and milk. It was made of chocolate chips and cocoa powder and coconut and dates. And you puree that, and then it hardens. It kind of jellifies into pudding, like a chocolate pudding thing. And man, that was like the best, because sometimes if you didn't make it right, it was like hardened to almost a fudge consistency. And I learned to eat turkey bacon and turkey burgers. I never liked salmon, and I learned to eat salmon, because basically what it would be is a protein, very small amount of protein and fruit in the morning, and then a protein and a vegetable, and then like a kiwi basil snack or a sweet potato. It was always pureed, There was like a parsnip, carrots. So in the morning I might have like a cup of blackberries with almond milk, or so you could have raspberries or blackberries, or half a cup of blueberries with kiwi. That would be your morning, but you'd have to have your protein too. So you could have 4 slices of turkey bacon, or two eggs, 2 egg whites, 2 eggs. And then at lunch you might have like kale soup. You would, make kale. It was very bland, no seasonings. you had to learn to not have oil and butter. So even if you went to a restaurant, you had to say, I'm allergic to oil and butter, make sure that the cook cooks it plain, whatever. You know, I would make like a chicken breast or a turkey breast. We had no red meat, no coffee. Well, 1 week we were allowed on one of those days red meat, but I didn't have it. What would be the point? No starches, no dairy. Well, did we have any dairy at all? Almond milk. I remember having almond milk, but that's not dairy. Yeah, I don't think we had any dairy. No cheeses. I mean, we really detoxed. And then last night, I went way over to the other side. I mean, but you got to try it. I mean, it is so good. You know, I put some, you know, the Easter egg Whoppers that are out right now. I put some of those in my mouth, and then I grabbed some jelly beans while that was still in. And so the fruit with the chocolate with the hard shell of the Whoppers, so good. And I couldn't stop eating those, and I said, I got to stop eating those. So then then I was still craving sugar, and you don't need to hear how I binged. It's disgusting. I was such a glutton. So let me see if I have all this right. Conrad Murray, one more time, helps someone on a plane, not save someone on a plane, but what's with those stories that he's traveling, and why is he traveling back to Boston? Really? Why is he going to Boston? He traveled on to Boston. Why? I mean, is that a clue? Or is his helping people on a plane a clue? I mean, they're bringing up the fact that, he dates strippers again, and they're saying that there's a third set of fingerprints, a unique set of fingerprints on the needle. And what really, really makes me wonder are like the two headlines in the past couple months where he was referring to Mrs. Jackson, says, I love her like she's my own mother, and then somebody asked him about Michael Jackson's kids, and he says, I love them like they're my own children. What is that all about? If you happen to have read Moonshadow and you have an idea of how it ended, please let me know, because I really haven't a clue.